Welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with special guest, Jon Landers. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Now, you're a little different from some of my other guests. You do music promotions, and you have an event coming up later this year. So what got you into this before we get into what you're doing?
Good question. Actually, my original career was in lawn and garden hardware industry back in the day. Before 1999, I was selling and servicing Home Depots and big box home centers, Maine to Virginia, with over 40 different product lines back then. In 99, I kind of went through a divorce from a 29-year marriage. Which kind of put me into a dark place and depression. And in the following 3 years from that year, my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer. My dad was trying to commit suicide because of my mom's condition, and my brother was diagnosed with Parkinson's. So I was in a very dark place for a good period of time. I decided to switch gears. I became a self-taught graphic designer originally. When I happened to walk into a Circuit City, saw a keyboard, hit the demo keys, played the theme to the James Bond movies, which I'm a big fan, and I just by impulse bought the keyboard. I never took lessons, can't read music, but I took it home, I labeled the keys, and I used the built-in loops to create my own music. And that literally kept me from checking out of life. I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't gotten there, that's for sure. So I decided that music was my true passion. I was a drummer in the 60s, but I kind of lost that thing when, moving on to different other things in life. But I realized that music really was my passion. So I decided to pay it forward. So by 2000, took a while, but by 2013, I started a music event in New York City called the Big Apple Indie Music Series, AKA TBAIMS, which is how I got the TBAIMS logo. And this was a monthly music showcase. We started at the Gibson Guitar Studios in Midtown Manhattan and ended up at Toshi's living room on 26th and Broadway. And in the 3 years I ran that prior to moving to Florida, we had over 133 independent artists of most genres perform live for us. And that was also in front of music, entertainment, TV, and film industry executives and A&Rs that we invited to the event. So it was quite a unique event. I really enjoyed it, but checking back, a little backtracking, I remarried in 06, and my second wife had a daughter and who was married to a guy that his mom moved to Florida. So they moved to Florida. They had a daughter, so first granddaughter, and I knew that was going to come. So we had to move to Florida. Since I wasn't looking for a third wife yet, I figured I better make her happy, and we decided to move to Florida. So in 2015, we moved to Florida, and that's when we stopped the showcase in New York, and I had to start to restart myself and reinvent that idea down here in Tampa Bay area. The market down here is obviously not the same as New York, and it took me a while to learn the venues, learn who was here in the market, in the industry, and some of the things that I'm critical about in terms of venue is the sound systems. If you can't hear the vocals on a band, then you're doing a disservice to the band and to the customer. So I started to research the venues, and I noticed here that a lot of the venues don't have what they call built-in backlines or sound systems. They outsource those, and you're at the mercy of whoever comes with those. Whereas in New York, they're usually built in, and they usually have pretty reliable sound engineers there, so that didn't have that issue. But here, I just wasn't ready to do it until this year. I found, first of all, I got connected with a rock band out of Sarasota. They approached me for some advice because I'm also a consultant, and it's an eight-piece band. They invited me to a rehearsal one day in their converted warehouse, and because I'm always skeptical when I get invited, get people to contact me, and then they decided, let's see it, watch our rehearsal, and you tell us what you think. And I sat there for 90 minutes like I was at a concert with a headliner. So I was very impressed with that. And being an 8-piece band known as Break Fail, that's Brake, I decided to work with them. And I've been working with them since the first of the year here. And I actually got them booked at the recent Florida Strawberry Festival first time. And they liked them so much they invited them back for next year already. And I connected finally with a venue in St. Petersburg called Ferg's Sports Bar and Grill, which is right next to the Tropicana Field where the Tampa Bay Rays play their baseball. And fortunately, the owner is closer to my age, which I'm a young, I call it the new 50s, but I'm 74. And he was in the 60s, and he said, yeah, we'd like to see some new original artists as well, because most venues down here, they just want cover bands or tribute bands. And
Right.
to me, I get bored with that too, pretty quickly, and I'm always looking for the new artists. So fortunately, we kind of connected. He's allowed me to do the first showcase on September 9th. And going forward, we're going to be probably on the third Wednesday of the month, we'll be doing a showcase. Because I think monthly is better than weekly for new stuff, because people get tired of it too fast that way. So that's where I am today.
That's been a long journey, but a fulfilling one at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of bands are you looking for your showcases?
Well, here's how I choose bands. I mean, I look at most genres. Being my age, I'm not really crazy about some of them. Heavy metal, I have a definition. They're like a woman in labor with a band, which that's to me heavy metal, and I'm not big on that, with the exception of maybe a Metallica. But what I look for, if anyone auditions, I have to see video footage of live performances, because I go by stage presence, how well they engage the audience, the ability to sing on key without apps like auto-tune, and originality of material. Based on all that, and I need to see video footage of live performances, or they have to audition live on Zoom to be considered. Because I've made, when I first started the showcase in New York, I would go by just the studio recording I heard. I'd say, oh, that sounds good. And I'd come on there live and they'd sound terrible. So I would say, nope, can't do that again. So I decided to be more cautious of how I screened the artists as they came in.
Exactly. There's so many people that use studio equipment to make yourself sound better.
Yeah.
Then, there's nothing wrong with that. We all want to be superstars, and we will all want to have that beautiful voice on the radio. We get it. But at the same time, you have to have that same voice when you're on stage.
Yes. Yeah. And I learned that. I mean, I learned a few different things the fast way. Typically in an event, we would bring in 6 artists for the evening. They'd each do 4 songs or 20-minute sets each. And I'd always try to mix the genres. But what I learned early on is if you had an acoustic artist, they should go first, because you wanted to start with like soft music and build up to upbeat and stuff at the end. Because if you do it in the middle, people start to tend to leave right in the middle of the event, and they think it's not that exciting anymore. So you got to keep that momentum going from easy listening to the upbeat and the more
Yeah,
extra high good stuff.
it is a science. Believe it or not, music is a science.
Oh yeah.
And promoting music is even more so.
Yeah, but it's been a fun journey. I mean, we've when we did it in New York, we had anywhere from 1 to 300 people for Wednesday night, 8 to 11. We'd have celebrities show up. It was a very well attended event, and we had a good reputation. We worked with a site like Reverb Nation. We had a Dropbox on their site, because I got to be friends with one of the founders there. And we had averaged 2,400 to 4,800 submissions a month from that alone from across the globe, which gave us credibility of what we were doing. And that was a good thing, but even saying that, 2 to 3% were the ones that would qualify for what I was looking for. There was a lot of, stuff in there that's not that great. But it's been a journey. And I've learned a lot over the years. I'm working with artist development agencies now, that if the artist isn't at that level, we can refer them, and if they're coachable and willing to invest in their careers, we can get them in that direction. I've connected with festivals around the country. So with the artists I've had in New York, I mean, they're part of my family, and they are family. So going forward, it's not a one night stand. Whenever I have an opportunity that comes my way and I think it's good for them, I provide that to all the artists who perform for me, and they have a shot at that. So it's ongoing, offering them opportunities to perform. And I've also learned to collaborate with people like gigsalad.com, gigmore.com, gigmit.com, bandsintown.com, bandmix.com if they're looking for other musicians to build a band. There's a lot of different, places that artists can either find gigs or communicate and get together and build a good creative process.
Exactly, but you have to be willing to invest in your career. You can't just say, I'm going to do the free route and not do anything else. You can't be one of these artists to go, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm not going to sell tickets to be part of a show. You have to invest in your career to move ahead.
Yes. And I try to tell these artists they do need to learn the business side of this industry, because you can't rely on labels at this time, not with the internet and the way things are going today.
I mean, you look at Tom McDonald. He has no label at all, and there's like 2.3 million fans that follow him endlessly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's some really good talent out there that I've seen over the years now, and I mean I get stuff unsolicited all the time from our website, and some things are good and some things are just not that great, and as long as they're willing to accept constructive criticism, I can help them. I tell them I'm like the Simon Cowell of independent artists, but I try to give you good constructive criticism in a nice way.
Yeah, you're gonna get criticized, you're gonna have critiques, and it's all to build you up.
Yep. And we're looking to try to get this new one going with, we're going to try to live stream it on YouTube. I'm working on that idea with also a new platform, live.space, that's starting up. So we're going to, develop this, because my vision and goal is to, once we reestablish ourselves in St. Pete, is to expand that to other venues around Florida and to other states and cities. So my vision is global, but we got to take it step by step and walk, not run.
Exactly. You can't open 20 venues at one time.
No. We got to build a reputation first. People can realize what uniqueness we have, what we bring to this event, and then we'll expand outwards in a slow manner. So
in the meantime, where can the bands, the artists, and the independent musicians find you to connect with your once a month Wednesday events?
Well, our website is TBAIMS.com. That's T as in Tom, B as in boy, AI, M as in Mary, S as in Sam.com, which is, again, the abbreviated version of the Big Apple Indie Music Series, which I'm going to kind of convert to the best artist in the music series, because that's really what it's going to be. And but the events themselves are going to be called Connecting Through Music, because I think that's more generic and a better name for what we're trying to do. Because I also try to get these artists to network with each other, because there's always some creativity you can get with other artists in different genres if you want to. If you have an open mind, you network, you can actually create other new material.
Exactly. It's not just about your band or what you're doing. If you're networking with 100 new bands, now you have material for the next 50 years. Yes.
Yep. So we encourage that. And we will try to get enough industry people to our events, either in person or online. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, you go this like you did in New York, you're going to have everyone wanting to be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be something like that. And in fact, my plan is to invite the artists who have performed in New York to come actually down here eventually, and also perform down here and expand their market. And once we get the corporate sponsors in place, it will never be a pay to play like some places. If anything, we would like to compensate the artists for their time to come in and be performing. So it's going to be a work in progress. They're welcome to sell their CDs or whatever at the events. Any other marketing paraphernalia they have for their bands, that they can do. But we are going to get to a point where they will be compensated. We just can't do it right off the bat.
Oh, you're just starting it out. I mean, your first event is until later in September. So, I mean, it's going to take time to get to being able to pay the artists to be there.
Absolutely.
Right
Yep.
now, it's all about networking and
And
getting
exposure.
both the artists out there and also this event.
Yes, just getting these new artists exposure for new fan base. That's all we're doing, trying to do here.
And that's a noble cause. I mean, just that in itself to get the new artists out there, that's big right now.
Yeah, yep, yeah, and we have some good people from the industry that are aware of it. I mean, I've connected with a lot of industry people. There's a couple of people that I'm just talking to right now, and there's another artist that's in this market that we're going to be talking. He has his own whiskey company and a solar panel company, and he's going to get involved, I believe. I'm not going to mention names yet until we have it in writing, but
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. It just takes time, and I actually tried to start an event here in my first year when I moved here, but as like any industry, there are a lot of sharks out there, and if you get involved with the wrong people, you can get into trouble.
yes.
And unfortunately, I did find someone had come to me out of NBC New York, that where he claimed he was offering these things for us, and then I had an event planned in 2016, but a week before, because I couldn't confirm everything, I just had to cancel it, say, nope, not doing it. You got to be careful who you collaborate with. You got to do your due diligence of who's going to be on part of that team, and make sure it's done the right time the first time. Otherwise, you'll fail right off the bat.
Exactly. And sometimes the failure that first time is a learning experience. So you don't just fail, you learn from it, so you don't do it again.
Yes, that's true. And I've had those situations. I just can't repeat it.
Exactly. It's a learning experience. We don't have failures, we just learn.
Absolutely. And it's been a experience altogether. I mean, the journey has been great. I've been meeting some awesome people in the process.
And you will continue to do so with these events now taking place from September forward.
Yes. Yeah.
So one more time before I let you go, where can the artist sign up for your events?
It's again TBAIMS.com. T is in Tom, B is in boy, AI, M is in Mary, S is in Sam.com. We have a submissions page right on the events page there. There's a submissions form you can set up and fill out. And we'll be happy to take a listen. And again, by submitting doesn't guarantee you a spot. If you have to meet the criteria that we mentioned on the page there. As I said, stage presence, all those things have to be in line to be considered. But we can also refer you to artist development agencies if you're not at that level, if you're open to it. So we can give you that. And we
So
can
you can have either try out for the event or get help for growing your career.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah, either one. We can get you the help you need.
That is awesome. But thank you so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And for all of our viewers and our listeners, happy listening.